Ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs from all over the world, please make welcome the truth guy, Mr. Home-Based Business himself. The man of the hour, everyone's favorite, Kerry Miller.
And here we are. Wow, what a great day it is. I cannot tell you how excited I am about today and where we're at and what we're doing and how we're doing it. I met a young lady online through Twitter, so I hope everybody understands that you need to get on social media, and we're going to talk about that tonight. And a heart of gold. I mean, a true heart of gold that has a story that's going to blow your mind. I'm not going to get into it because I want her to tell you her story. So without further ado, we are going to get started, but I want to give a short introduction of Chloe. And it's a video that she sent me a while back, and that's when I knew that Chloe was the real deal. She's a web designer. She's a social media magnet. I mean, she knows how to get things done. She's in Scotland tonight, and you'll kind of hear a Texas accent when she starts talking, but she's really in Scotland. So, but here's a short video clip. I hope you love it. Stick around because I can tell you the nuggets that you receive from tonight's show is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I really wanted to create a space where service providers could come and learn how to build, grow, and scale their online business using their website. It's such a powerful tool. It's your home on the internet where you invite your ideal customers in, and we want to set it up so that it is doing the work for us. You know, we're attracting and engaging and converting clients 24/7, even when we sleep. Now, that doesn't have to be as complicated as we tend to make it. I want to show you the easy way to do this. You don't need to have a huge budget. You don't need to have a team. You don't need to be a complete expert at what you do. You can be at any stage you are in your journey. That is fine. It doesn't matter where you've come from, what you've gone through, what stage you're at. We can do this together. I want to be there to show you the strategies, the systems, and provide you with the right support. So once again, thank you so much for being here. Learn, explore, and don't forget to sign up to my newsletter, chloeforbeskay.com/NL. When you sign up, you have direct access to me, and we can have that one-on-one conversation, which just allows me to help you a little bit more on an individual level. So I hope to see you then. I hope to hear from you. Thank you so much. And never forget, my friend, you have the power to change the world, one connection and one conversation at a time. Much love from my heart to yours.
And this is my new amazing friend, Chloe, who I just absolutely adore. She is, not only is she an entrepreneur, which everybody knows I'm all about the entrepreneur, but she is just a great person that I had the opportunity to meet on Twitter. We were actually talking about audiobooks, right?
Yes. I think we were talking about how I wish that you could choose the narrator of your audiobooks. So if I was like, hey, I really want, I don't know, Michael Jackson to play my audiobook, that'll make this business book a whole lot more fun. Let's make that happen.
So I texted her back and I said, hey, that might be something we need to explore. So if you see Chloe and I in a business arrangement together, you know we're going to audiobooks.
That's it.
So one thing I like to do, and tonight's going to be special because Chloe's going to share some things with you. And there's something I love about Chloe is she gives back, and she gives back from her heart. Not only does she give back from her heart, but she gives back her knowledge. And in today's society, and we talked about this before the show, a lot of people tell her, just like they tell me, why do you charge so little? You know, why aren't you in it for the money? But sometimes it's more about the money. So give us a little bit about your background, and then we're going to work up into where you're at today.
Yeah, so I'll give you the really quick version and then I'll go back a little bit. So I started off in 2012, and so when I first started, I did website design, and then I went to social media marketing, social media management. And I kind of got to this place like a lot of people did a few years ago, where it just felt very saturated, and it didn't feel like this was the way to help businesses in that moment. I felt like you needed to have a place on the internet where you could build your own equity, like build a home and invite people in. And it had to be a place where you felt like you belonged, but also they felt like they belonged. So then I kind of transitioned to website design, and then I niched down into Squarespace website design. And now I do a couple of things. I do website design and coaching, but based on your website. But if I was to go back a little bit further, I started my business in 2012 because I couldn't get a job. I just graduated, and for me, education was really important. I went and did my degree when I was 16 because I came from nothing, like nothing. I was in poverty. I had a really broken background, like a lot of people, and a lot of people in Scotland as well. And so for me, education was my way out. I always told myself from like 8 or 9, education was my way out of this. And so I'm going to take advantage of it because I'm fortunate enough to live in a country where I can do that, right? Where there is funding towards that. So I did that. I went, I got my degree. I did everything I thought was right. I wasn't well the last couple of years. I'd fractured my skull. And so it was really like a battle to get that done. And so when I did finally get my degree, I was like, I made it. Like I did it. I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to have a degree. I'm supposed to be like a drug user on the streets coming from where I've come. And I've done it with a broken skull. And I felt so proud of myself just to get that. And then it was kind of like this high followed by like this horrible low point of just getting rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter. And I remember one day coming home, and I wasn't feeling great. And I remember getting this letter through the door, and I knew what it was before I even opened it. So I opened this letter up, and it's like for a toilet cleaning company, and it's like, no, it was like another rejection letter, and I was overqualified to be a toilet cleaner. And the joke is now I couldn't even get a crap job, but but at the time it wasn't so funny. At the time I was like crying. I remember having that movie moment of like crying my eyes out and then like sinking to the floor. And then I was like, you know what? If nobody else is going to take a chance on me, I'm going to take a chance on me. I chose to do business as my degree because I was like, if you have these skills, you can do almost anything. And so I was like, I'm going to start a business. And I had no idea what I was going to start. I had literally no idea. I was just like, I'm going to start a business. And during my degree, I remember I got marked down for my marketing dissertation in the last year because I'd done it on a wrestling company in Scotland. I'm a wrestling fan. It's a weird thing, but
Hey, so I'll tell you a story when you get through this.
yes, please do. I love all the wrestling stories. So I did my marketing dissertation on a wrestling company, and my whole thesis was you could take this company and they could build their business online. Like they could use social media. They don't have a lot of money, but they could absolutely use content and social media to grow. And I got marked down because it wasn't realistic to build a business on social media. This is like 2012.
Right.
And so out of spite and stubbornness, I was like, I'm going to build my business doing social media marketing because I want to prove them wrong. And I did. Just for anybody watching, they invited me back to like speak at the college for years. I got made an industry rep. So I was like, yes, victory. So that's
cool.
how I got there. But I tell that story because everything I've built, you mentioned, sometimes we're taught or told that we should do business a certain way because it's the right way. This is how you're successful. I'm a big believer that if you're going to build a business, it has to be built on way more than just like money. I feel like if you build it on money, you fail at some point. It's way more about people. and connecting to people. And if you're going to do it that way, then you have to know what your core values are and build based on that. And so for me, a big part of that is knowing that it doesn't matter where you've come from or what you've gone through, you can be, do, and achieve anything. And so even if you're starting right now, this year has been so tough. It's been so tough, and a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people have had to think about other ways and other means to make income. And that could be scary because it's something so unknown. But anyone can do it. And everything I'm doing is to try and say, like, it doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter what your tech skill is. It doesn't matter if you don't have a huge budget. Like, you could do it the scrappy way. The scrappy way is the right way because that's how you learn.
Absolutely. And we talked about that, right? Being face down in the dirt.
Yes.
You're not successful until you fail. You know, a lot of people think, oh gosh, I failed, so I'm going to stop. But they don't realize that that's just a learning experience. It's going to get them through to the next point. And, you know, that's who they are. Chloe, we're going to take a quick break. I invite everybody, while they're here, please share this show. Everybody needs to hear Chloe's story, not because she had a pity party for herself, because she took something and molded it and moved to a place today where she owns her own business. She could have stopped. She cracked her skull, for goodness sakes. You know, most people would have gave up right then. This young lady, absolutely not. We'll be back in about 20 seconds. Chloe, don't go anywhere.
Thank you for being a part of the Truth Guy broadcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at KerryMillerTV. And of course, listen to the Truth Guy podcast on the go at thetruthguypodcast.com. And now welcome back your host, Mr. Home-Based Business himself, the Truth Guy, Kerry Miller.
Now, there's one thing I learned from your website, and I think that's your sister that I saw you with.
Yeah.
On the website. You're a huge family person, and tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what brought you and your family close together? Obviously, you and your sister are very, very close. Tell us a little bit about your family. Tell us about. I mean, you told us how you grew up and what the challenges you made. How important was your family and those loved ones in your life that really supported you and got you where you are today?
Yeah, so for me, growing up, so the other part of the way I grew up is I lost a lot of people very young. Like, a lot of people I saw pass on, including my gran, who I was very close with before the age of 5. And then I grew up a lot of the time in hospitals where my mom looked after her dad, my granddad, and he passed away when I was 8. And I didn't have my dad really in my life, although I know who he is and I talk to him sometimes. I didn't really have him, but I adored and worshipped him. And so growing up, losing those people, and it continued as I got older, including children and things, that was really hard. So the one thing I learned was, you know, I don't want to lose these people that I love so much. Like, they are, like, I'm scared of 2 things in the world, 2 things only: losing the people I love and rats. And my fear of rats is as big as my fear of losing people. Let me tell you, like, to the point where earlier I got a text saying, don't click on the Chipotle trend because you're not going to like what's on Twitter. That's like where my fear goes with there. So I'm scared of that. But losing people was really hard. And so I learned the value of people. I just learned it and I wanted that so much because, like, my family was so broken and it had gone through so much struggles, even within our little, I have my mom, I grew up with my mom and my brother, who's 3 years younger than me. And my sister is 14 years younger than me. So the other thing is, I was 14 when my mom had her. And I brought her up for a few years with my mom, because you have to do that when you come from that environment. And it almost became like I have a responsibility to show her life in a different way so that she doesn't have to go through these things, and that she has the best chance in the world growing up and being who she wants to be and loving who she wants to love and doing the things she wants to do. Because when you come from and everybody has their own struggles, right? So like everybody goes through that. It's not just me or anyone else. People all have their own struggles, and they're equally valid and difficult. And those are things that become obstacles as you get older and hard to work through. And so the more that I can like show her, my sister especially, because she is so much younger, how loved she is and how supported she is and how free she is to be whoever she is, like that's everything to me. My number one responsibility in the entire world is to be like the best big sister that I can be. So that's how, like, family. And when I say family, I say that on my email list too. If you join my email list, you're part of my social family. I love you when you're on my, like, I really do. And I will give you the time of day. And if you need something, I'm going to be there for you, because there are people in the world that don't have anyone and they really need someone. And so no matter who you are, even if I don't know you, if you need help and I can help you, I'm going to be there for you.
And I will tell you how committed she is. We start at 7, but it's like 1 o'clock in Scotland. And, you know, we started talking, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago, and started getting to know each other. And I feel like I've known her for like 20 years now. You know, I mean, I feel it because she's an open book. And when she says you're her family, that's how she makes you feel. And I told her before the show started, I'm a very soft-hearted person. I've really got tears. I hope you can't.
I love that about you.
You know, you're just an amazing person, and you can see that. And everybody go to, I think I put it in the show notes, ChloeForbesK.com. Make sure you go to her website, and you'll be glad that you did, because when you see her website, you will see that she carries her heart into her business, and that she's extremely sincere. I mean, she gives away a lot of training on how to build a website. Most people would charge you several $1,000s just to speak to you about it. This young lady, she gives you all the information you need. She gives you a guidebook that you can walk through. And but that's why she's successful. She's not just successful in business. She's successful in life because she gives to others. And that's what business is truly all about, is giving back to others. And I know that's going to carry you so far. And without question, your heart is going to take you to the moon and back. By the way, Chris Borgen, I don't know if you know that name, yes, but he sent a message. He said, Chloe, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
I adore Chris Brogan. If this is one thing I have to say, I came across Chris Brogan when I was 20 years old. And I had a lot of mentors, and some were okay and some harmed me more than helped me. The greatest person I've ever met in business has been Chris Brogan. He's incredible. And you speak about sharing like my heart and giving to others. There's nobody I've ever met that does that more than Chris. So you should also go check out his website.
I will do. Hopefully I can have him on the show. And but let's talk a little bit about business. Okay. I mean, I know everybody's already fallen in love with you. And now let's talk about the business side. A lot of businesses today do not realize how important it is to be branded and to have a website and to have a social presence that allows the public, especially in today's society, where everybody's locked down. We know that e-commerce is through the roof. Amazon has had the greatest year it's ever had. Walmart's having the greatest year it's ever had. I just talked to UPS, who dropped a package off here. She said they have never been busier than they are right now. And she said, when you walk into the stores, the shelves are empty. So the only place they have to look is online. Talk to us about the importance of an online presence, not just with a website, but social media also, because people really need to understand and hear that's where they have to go, or their business will continue to decline and they're losing those customers to someone else.
Yeah, that's really important. And do you know what's so funny? The saddest thing that happened this year, as it happened, a lot of marketers had the same experience where in March, they lost all of their clients because all of their clients didn't listen when they were told get online. I remember having for 4 years, I tried to tell this music center, I was like, they were always like, you need to make me a millionaire, Chloe. I need to get my 4 million. I want these stores all across America. And I told them all the time, you need to be online. They did not listen. You can't teach music online. And I'm like, there's people that are doing it. You might benefit from having it offline, but there are people doing it. And if you don't fill that gap, someone else will. So what happened in March is people filled the gaps, and those that decided not to get online, they lost out big time. And it's sad because you mentioned those numbers, and the sad part of that is there is money. I think that because some of us lost so much this year because of everything that happened, our instincts were, I know mine were as well, I need to reduce my prices. Nobody's going to buy from me. Nobody has money to buy from me. There's always money in the world, and people
Always.
will spend it on things that they value and things that are important to them. And if they feel like you make their life better, they're going to invest in you. A lot of us agree that Amazon are a horrible company. They're terrible. Like in the way that they treat their employees, there's so much not good stuff about them, but we're still going to buy from them because they make it so easy to do so. Same with Apple. Like we all will complain about these headphones that are $500. We're in the middle of like a pandemic. People are losing their jobs, and you could guarantee people are going to buy these headphones. Guaranteed. So there is money out there. That's the first thing you have to like get your head around. You can't stop just because this is happening. And there's enough time that has passed that you have to learn to adapt with that. And when it comes to building your online presence, I think the biggest thing that people do is they try to copy others. They try and look for other people in the way they're doing things and wonder why they're failing. And I did this for years and years. I followed all these people that I thought, I love Carol too. So big love to her for watching. They followed all of these people that they thought had the answers, and they invested all this money only to find out they didn't have any more business. And it's because they were focused on their competitors and their peers rather than their customers and their prospects. So being able to build a presence online and build it on a website that you own and you're in control of, that Facebook can't manipulate some sort of algorithm to stop your not anything that comes in the way between you and your ability to reach the person you're trying to serve. Like that's not good for your business. So platforms like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and even YouTube, they're amazing at saying, hey, I'm here, I exist, let's have a conversation. But the first opportunity, you should be like, let's take this to email. Let's take this to the website where we can actually have a one-on-one conversation free from all of this distraction. Because then it becomes intimate. Then it becomes to a point where you can actually help someone and you could hear what they're trying to say and what they want, because your customers will tell you what they want.
That's right.
And it's up to you to listen and to adapt. And that's how you win. Every time. The fundamentals of business never, ever, ever change. It's just that we get caught up in this idea that, okay, well, we need to do this because this is the latest trend. We need to use this tool because this is the latest trend. And it's like, no, you just need to listen to your customers, show up, answer the questions they have, serve them in the best way that you can, and they will invest with you. But I think like from a strategic point, you also have to have, very clear messaging about who you are, who you're trying to attract, the problem that you're solving, how you're solving that problem. And the other thing that a lot of businesses don't do online out of fear is you need to answer every objection they have. And you need to do that openly and publicly, because you don't have to know all the answers and you don't have to get everything right. But you have to be honest, because it's like what we were saying before, like so often people have bad experiences that when they come across your brand, they're coming at it from a place of distrust, You're not starting from zero. And so you have to get all that work to just get back to zero before they even trust you. And we know that people aren't going to buy from you if they don't trust you. And they're not going to buy from you if it's not very clear about what you do and who you serve. And if you're shaky in your messaging too, you have to show up with confidence. And the easiest way that you can do that, the easiest way you could stand out, is to be yourself and to be honest. And I really hate the word authentic, because I feel like the word authentic means that you have to try to be something.
Right.
Like there's an effort there, but if you just show up and you share value and you've got the strategic part down, it works. It just takes time and effort. And you shouldn't ever, when it comes to social media, the most important thing you need to work on for any business is building one-on-one connections, which isn't attractive because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it will last forever. That person that you build that one-on-one connection with, they'll buy your stuff wherever you go, whatever you do, and they'll tell everybody about it. Kind of like the way I tell everybody about Chris Brogan's newsletter, right? Like
exactly.
Because it's exactly that.
And he said something earlier, and I'm going to go back to that. Let me find that real quick. Gosh, I just screwed that up. Well, I've lost it now. But he had made a statement about you, and he said, hey, I said something, and she gives me a shout out. That's the kind of person she is. And, you know, so many times we retract ourselves, and we're so afraid that somebody else is going to take something away from us that we shelter everyone else, and we don't give them the time of day. We don't say, hey, you know, this is important. This is what we need to do. This is who we are. And I just found it here. And see how Chloe is. I show up to support her, and she shouts out to me. That's all you need to know. And that's the way we need to be in business. You know, I don't know everything. I've tried web design. I was terrible. So now if I have someone that needs web design, who am I going to send them to? Someone that I trust, someone that I know will take care of them. And I think as a community, we have to learn to trust one another. And you said the most important thing: tell people the truth. I got my name for my podcast. I was struggling. Yeah. I didn't know what to call it. And I was
It's a great name. It's so intriguing too. I'm like, the truth guy? That's gotta be good.
Yeah, I was talking to a PR lady in Florida. I met her at dinner, and she was sitting there and was, hey, what do you do? This is what I do. And I said, oh, cool. And I said, you know, I'm trying to start a podcast. I said, I'm not trying to suck anything out of you. I said, but I don't know what to name it. She said, well, who are you? And I said, I just want to tell people the truth, because so many people lie and they give bogus crap all the time, you know. And I said, I just want to be that guy. And she said, that's it. I said, what's it? She said, you're the truth guy. And so it stuck with me. And I said,
simple but significant.
Yeah. So, and people aren't like that. And I don't know if it's because they have a stereotype of, I'm a salesperson, or I'm going to go in and talk to this person, so I need to lie right off the bat and make myself out to be something I'm not, you know. And that is so, so important. I want to talk about something real quick. We got as long as I want to have. You had talked about YouTube is awesome, Twitter is awesome, Facebook is awesome, Periscope, all these things are awesome. But they don't put anything in the descriptions. They don't share anything. They don't share who they are, where they're at, or anything. And I call it a funnel. And I think it's so important that we create a funnel everywhere we go. I've started tagging myself in every single response on Facebook and every single response in Twitter. And talk about that funnel. Talk as a webmaster. Nobody knows funnels better than a webmaster. And a marketer. Talk about funnels and how important it is, even for the restaurant, for the local shoe store. Everybody out there has to have a funnel to take their business to the next level, especially in today's market. Talk about that if you would.
Yeah, that's very true. You're so right. But people hate that word, don't they? Like
They
they
do.
really hate that sales process, sales funnel, but there's no other way to describe it because it's really true. I call it the customer journey. It seems to be a little bit more like digestible for people. But it's just
I like that.
yeah, like, but the thing is, there's a process people go through before they buy from you. And you're not always conscious of it. But even if you go to the supermarket, you will look at a product, then you'll pick it up, then you'll turn it around, you'll look at what's in the ingredients, where it's from, all that stuff, and then you'll decide to put it in your basket and buy from it. And sometimes you don't buy it straight away. Sometimes you're like, oh, look at those biscuits. They look really good. And you go in and you say it like 3 or 4 times and you're like, you know what? I'm going to try them. They look really good. And then you buy them. So like we all go through these processes or these funnels all day, every day, whenever we're buying things. If you think about when you go to buy something online, before you buy it, is now more than ever, you will go and look at the reviews, you will look at the description, you will look at everything that people have said, mostly the bad stuff because you don't want to make the wrong decision and have buyer's remorse.
Right.
It's no different with our websites. And unless we put that funnel in place, nobody is going to buy from us because it's a psychological process we go through, and we have to guide people along that journey. They're not going to just always go to your website. You need to guide them to your website. You need to prompt them to sign up for your email list. You have to give them and send them emails regularly so they know to open them. And so a huge part of that is content, and a huge part of that is consistency. But it's also understanding what your customer journey looks like for you. Because what it is for me could be very different. You know, the one that a lot of marketers will teach you, and it's because it's a very generalized, effective one, is you meet people on social media, you create content on your blog or through video or a podcast, and you share that out to social media and you guide people onto your website where they consume and learn more about you. Okay, now they know you and they probably like you, probably enough that they trust you just with the email address, not enough to buy from you yet. So let's get them from social to your website and then up on your email list. And now they're in your email list. That's a one-on-one connection. And you're always going to be able to build trust having that one-on-one interaction. And a really important part of that with email, I think people forget, is that a lot of times people ask, what do I put in there? And it's like, let me just promote my blog post, or let me just promote, you know, what I've been talking about this week, rather than using it as an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation and speak to one person and give them the opportunity to hit reply, because that interaction is usually what sells them. And so that's like a general approach. I think that you have to work it for whatever your business is. If you're a restaurant, that might look a little bit different. You might have to incorporate, especially if you're doing like deliveries offline just now, you have to think about, well, how can I help that? And another big part of the funnel that people forget is what happens after they buy. Because getting people to buy, there's like a before and then they purchase, and people forget what happens after. But that's where you make most of your money.
That's
making sure that that experience that they have with you is so good that they have to go and tell everybody else. And then making sure the after part, you don't just leave them hanging, that you keep that relationship and you keep it going and you check in with them and you see how things are going and offer them new things that they could try, because they're far more likely to buy from you. And so I think that that's really important, knowing your customer journey and then making sure that you're looking after your customers before, during, and after the after process. That's the part people forget.
And you know, that's part to me, and you're right, that's where the money's made. So many people get caught up, oh, I made a one-off sell. I'm gonna spend all this money for another customer to make another one-off sell. When you spent $30 to acquire that customer, you don't have to spend anything except an email to say, hey, this is what we have, you know, 10 cents, and bring the guy back to your store. It's kind of funny to me. we've actually been taught this our whole life walking into Walmart. They tell us where to go. They tell us what to buy. They put the little money-making things up by the counter. So you'll pick up 3 Snicker bars, and that's where they make their money.
Yeah.
And, but in business ourselves, we say, well, that doesn't work for me. But those things, that customer experience, is for every single business, right? I mean, it's not just for the big guys. It's for the Kerry Millers and the Chloes, and it's for all of us that are in business to make sure that we give that experience to our customers.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it, because even like the after part of that, right? Like you go to your checkout and there's always like sweets right there, knowing that that's the thing you worked so hard to avoid putting in your basket because you didn't want to eat the junk food. They always have that right there. And then afterwards they'll give you a little coupon so that you come back and you buy again and you're like, oh, that was very generous. And they'll tell you how much you saved today. So you're like, oh, I like it here. I like it. This is a good experience. I want to come back here. And that's the thing. When you get those like deals, even in a supermarket, you tell everybody about it.
That's right.
And it's the same thing. So you're right. You could spend all this money acquiring new customers, or you can look after your current customers and like without even putting in very much effort, you acquire a whole marketing team who do all this work for you and you didn't have to pay them a penny. And it goes to that point of like building community too. I think that that's important, and like building it out where you're supporting one another. That's what we wish could happen on a global scale, right? Where we're all looking after each other and sharing resources. But you can't do that. You can't change the world. And so you have to make the world smaller and build from there and build out. I think that that's really important.
And nobody's done that better than Apple. And I know we talked about Apple a while ago. Apple has built an ecosystem to where, and I have an iPhone and an Apple phone, but they built an ecosystem where Apple users, they wouldn't go anywhere else if Apple turned their phone off every single month. And that ecosystem, people say, well, I just don't have the money to do that. But you said something in the very beginning that really stuck in my mind. You don't have to have a lot of money to build your own little marketing system in order to build your business to a point where you can acquire someone to come in and handle all your social, all of your website, your e-commerce, and do that. Because I can tell you, there's a lot of big businesses that started off in their garage that did it themselves. And today they've got thousands of people doing their marketing for them. And we're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to come back and close out. Let's see here. I want to see here. This I like that right there.
Aww.
And but you can see that Chloe's got a following, and it's so awesome. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we're going to close out with some closing thoughts.
Thank you for being a part of the Truth Guy broadcast. We look forward seeing you Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time as Kerry shares his insight in helping you build your dream and success. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at KerryMillerTV. And of course, listen to the Truth Guy podcast on the go at thetruthguypodcast.com. And now welcome back your host, Mr. Home-Based Business himself, the Truth Guy, Kerry Miller.
And here we are with Chloe Forbes Kindlen, just an amazing person. Now, I want y'all to notice something. She got the @Chloe Forbes K on the screen. And I know that, and I do the same thing. Everything I do is @KerryMillerTV. Everything you do is the same @ symbol. You're the same on every single platform. And I kind of want to close with that. Then we're going to close with just some parting thoughts. But talk about your brand a little bit, who you are, what you are, and how to make sure everybody knows who Chloe Forbes K is in the social world.
Yeah. So I have a personal brand. It's based on my name. If you haven't gathered by now, that's based on the fact that I want to have a one-on-one connection with you and build that way. That's really important to me. But I help mostly online service providers. There are some creative types I work with, but it's mostly online service providers. And I'm really there to give you an easy way to build your business online. Now, how I do that is I'm a Squarespace website designer. I put my flag firmly on Squarespace, although I don't work for Squarespace, because that I found is the best way to attract my ideal client, which are people that want an easy way to do things, that just they're looking for simplicity. They want to focus on the things that matter most, which isn't building a website or maintaining a website. They want a way to connect properly to their customers and have conversations rather than get like stressed out over plugins and tools that come along with WordPress. And so I do that through teaching online. I have a free path that anybody can take. That's because my brand stands for, education should be free for all. That's really important to me. We talked a little bit about that before the show, but I'm a huge believer in that education should be free for all. And I'm really lucky that I came from, I was brought up in Scotland where I had that opportunity. And so it's important to me that I give that opportunity to others so that it doesn't matter where you come from or what you've gone through. You can, start your online business and take that path and learn as you go the scrappy way, because the scrappy way is the very best way that you can learn. And it's the quickest way you'll be successful, not following everybody else's path. So I do that. And then I also, I do website design and coaching, and I'm launching a course to do the same. And the reason I do that and focus more on the education part now than the actual website design part is because, again, I want to empower people to do it themselves. I want to give those people the skills and the tools to do that. And that's another part of, building my brand. I want it to be more about, be resourceful rather than have all the resources. You don't need all the tools. You don't need a huge budget. You don't need a big team. You don't need any of that. I stand for the people that are just starting from scratch with nothing and want to take it step by step, the easy, simple, not overwhelming way, using tools that you can actually use to build your own website, put your flag down, share your message, and change the world one connection and one conversation at a time, because that is 100% scalable, 100%.
And you can contact, I know I've got this in the show notes. You can contact Chloe. All you have to do is click on the link that's in the description. I'm going to read something. And when I saw this on her site, I knew in 2 seconds what she stood for. She's not another geeky marketer that's out there trying to take all your money and throw you under the bus and you never hear from her. And all they want is another $1,000 for you to send them an email. I want to read this to you. I don't do hard sell promotions, expiring offers, mega launches, or psychological pricing. It's not my style. You either want to learn or you don't. You either want to buy or you don't. My role is only to ever create solutions to your problems and educate you on the benefits gained from investment, time, money, or both. Guys, I've been in this business for 20 years. I can promise you, she is one in a billion that would ever put that statement on her website. So give us something to close with. Give us a nugget that we can put in our heart from yours. And don't go anywhere when the show's over. We'll meet in the green room afterwards. But it's been a pleasure. You are just a dream.
Thank you.
And what an awesome pleasure it has to have you here tonight. And I want the world to see tonight's interview because you are going places, not because of what you want, but because of what you want to give. So you get the final word.
I don't know what I'd say other than to add to that. I just want people to trust themselves, take a chance, know that if you've got a message, share it. People will care about what you have to say if you have enough courage to hit publish. And know that if you want to do something, if you want to build an online business, you can do that. You don't have to, it doesn't matter where you're starting. And I know that times are really, really difficult, but find people that are willing to help you, because there are people willing to help you, and no one can build a business online alone, or a business alone anywhere, and they shouldn't have to. So find your people, find the content that is so readily available now, and like just build step by step, and don't be afraid to be scrappy. Like, get scrappy, and most of all, don't follow what everybody else is doing because you think it's the right way to go. Nothing ever good came from following the crowd. Like, if you really want to make a difference, like, go the other way and give people an alternate route, because that's what they need most of all right now. Another way of doing things, because there's a lot of people who don't fit into the norm, or don't fit into the paths being shared by others. So like, if you see something different, like, go with that. So that's why I say, in a not so tidy nugget.
And I will tell you, I have a lot of friends in the UK, and when they use words, I'm always looking them up. So everybody goes look up scrappy.
Oh, just don't be afraid to just try things. Just try things out. Yeah, you know what? It gets me in trouble all the time. I say things all wrong. I always say words wrong. I go into the shop now, and I'm like, can I get a zucchini? And they're like, what's a zucchini? And I'm like, I have to correct myself. We call it courgette.
And the reason she say that, she spends half her time in the States and half the time in Scotland. And but what a pleasure. Thank you so much. I just can't, my heart is just exploding with joy for what you brought tonight to our listeners. And I can't wait to get this out and start pushing it, because people need to hear you can be anything you want to be if you just do it. Without that, you're not going to have anything. From nothing to who she is today, cracked skull and all, the most amazing person I've ever met. So we're going to close out tonight just like we do every night with my good friend Frankie. We lost him to COVID back in a few months ago. I love him to death. I think about him every single day. So Frankie, take us out of here.